Correction Theory and the Super-Intelligent Creator, SAC, by Successors. On September 26, 2022, NASA made history. A spacecraft called DART, Double Asteroid Redirection Test, intentionally crashed into an asteroid named Dimorphos. Not to destroy it, not to collect samples, but to change its orbit using only kinetic force. It took more than 8 months to reach the asteroid, but in a matter of milliseconds, we proved something monumental. That with knowledge, precision, and timing, we can correct the path of a celestial body. And this is exactly where my theory, the correction theory, begins. The correction theory, a new lens on reality. What if events like these aren't new? What if they've been happening, not just by nature, but by design for billions of years? What if the positioning of Jupiter, the creation of the moon, and the extinction of dinosaurs were not accidents, but calculated corrections? These are not miracles. They were moves in a larger cosmic process. Let me explain this through a game you might know, Carom. In Carom, you use a striker to hit the coin or Carom piece. The player doesn't just strike randomly. He observes, aligns, calculates the angle, and applies the required force. Sometimes gentle, sometimes powerful, but always intentional. The same way DART redirected an asteroid. The same way Jupiter protects Earth from comets. The same way dinosaurs were wiped out to allow mammals and eventually humans to rise. These are cosmic Carom moves, corrections made over time. This brings us to the mind behind it all, the super-intelligent creator, SIC. Now, let me introduce who, or what, I believe is behind these corrections. The super-intelligent creator, or SIC. This creator is not a magician. He doesn't break universal laws. He doesn't perform miracles. He works within the universal system, just like we did with the DART mission, but on a vastly higher scale.
Never in my life would I have thought I would take a couple $100 million spacecraft and crash it into an asteroid. My name is Michelle Chen, and I lead the team that is responsible for the autonomous navigation of DART spacecraft to hit an asteroid. The DART mission is the first planetary defense test mission. Our goal is to hit and impact an asteroid to understand and study the momentum transfer so that we could potentially later down the road, if we need to, deflect an asteroid on its way to Earth. I am the SmartNav lead. SmartNav stands for Small Body Maneuvering, Autonomous Real-Time Navigation. SmartNav, I always consider it sort of like the brains. And so the camera, Draco, is essentially the eyes. The algorithm has to identify and hit the target in the field of view of the camera. We're flying at over 6 kilometers a second. It essentially occupies a pixel up until possibly 30 minutes prior to impact. And then that's where everything gets really exciting. And so you could just imagine if it was a human being joysticking this. Because we don't know for sure what the asteroids look like, our simulation gives us the capability to use different asteroid shapes and asteroid objects to see that our SmartNav algorithm performs against all these unknowns. We're super excited and nervous as well. I love pushing the boundaries, and I love the application of math into real-world problems, and then seeing it actually doing its thing. To me, there's nothing cooler than that.
His power doesn't come from magic. It comes from knowledge and wisdom of the highest order. And with that knowledge, he transformed our solar system into a vast experimental ground to prepare for the emergence of humans. In time, could evolve into the next batch of creators. Time, the key to cosmic correction. When you operate within the laws of the universe, you need time, not miracles. One day of Brahma, as described in the Vedic texts, equals 4.32 billion years. Why such immense time spans? Because big corrections take time. The extinction of species, the shaping of planetary environments, the emergence of intelligent life. Mistakes are part of learning. Laws never fail, but precision, real precision, takes cycles of correction. That's the sixth way. He doesn't click his fingers. He calculates, adjusts, and waits. Only one external help, the sun. The only external help the SIC gave us is the sun, a constant source of energy, fueling life, ecosystems, oceans, winds, weather, agriculture, electricity, everything. And the sun doesn't ask for prayers. It doesn't demand rituals. It simply gives without pause. The sun is the only help SIC allowed. Stable, mathematical, powerful. His silent signature. Everything else, we were meant to figure out ourselves. Sixth goal, total independence. Here is the deeper truth. Gods created by humans never came for divine help. In the darkest moments of history, wars, famine, plague, slavery, gods never intervened. Why? Because they were imagined, projected, wished for. But SIC doesn't intervene, not because he is absent, but because he designed everything to be self-sufficient. His goal isn't to save us. It's to make us independent. Learn, use wisdom. Don't just struggle to survive, pray, and die. Rise, discover, create. That is the correction theory's call to action. Worship versus wisdom. Praying and worshiping never created
which
technology.
Is feeding images to its autonomous navigation system, steering it straight into the demo, much like DART's test, relies on the energy transfer from a collision to change the motion of an object. The method, which is called kinetic impact deflection, is the technique DART will test at 7:14 p.m. Eastern. Let's take a look.
There's kind of a limit on how much mass you can launch into space. You know, rockets are only so big. So our spacecraft is only the size of a golf cart.
Draco is the primary instrument on the DART spacecraft. It is the camera that is going to be imaging the Didymos system as we approach.
When we first see the asteroid through Draco, it's just going to look like a pixel.
There's a star tracker on board that takes images of the stars and compares them to a known catalog to determine which way it's pointing in space. It poses the biggest risk because very, very small errors in this measurement can spell the difference between success and failure. And those measurements are going to be fed into the SmartNav algorithm that's going to be making the autonomous course correction commands that will put us on it.
And then interpreting where it is in space and guiding itself to it.
The spacecraft is controlling itself. SmartNav is guiding the spacecraft. And we have very limited ability to
all maneuvering, and we coast until we hit the asteroid.
It is going very, very fast towards the asteroid, traveling at 6 kilometers per second.
200 times faster than a car on the freeway. So when we hit, all of that mass, all of that momentum pushes the asteroid.
Even giving it a small nudge will allow its course.
But if we did see an asteroid on track for Earth, this would be enough of a deflection.
It's like a bittersweet moment. Yeah, all this hard work just got destroyed, but that was exactly why we put it all together.
Of all the endeavors that we do for space and in space, this is probably one of the ones that one day will be the most important thing that we've ever done.
In the future, I hope that DART can teach us what ways work and what ways don't work for planetary defense.
Because it is humankind's first demonstration that we have gained the knowledge and the technology to be able to protect the Earth from an asteroid impact.
All right, after a 10-month, 470 million mile journey, DART is just minutes away from making history. A truly global effort, this mission has brought together people from around the world, united under one goal: to find a way to protect humanity from a hazardous asteroid if one were ever discovered. Now, usually NASA spacecraft are intended to operate for many years or even decades, but not DART. DART was built to be destroyed. DART is a mission of firsts, proving that a spacecraft can autonomously seek, find, and approach a target in space that's so far away we don't even know what it looks like. It also marks the first time humanity will have moved a planetary body in the universe. I said that correctly. Now, at this point, the spacecraft is controlling itself, making small maneuvers to ensure it's lined up with its target. DART is speeding through space and will cover the last 4 miles of its journey in just 1 second. Coming up, we'll hear the final updates from mission operators and witness the big moment live from space.
Temples didn't give us electricity. Mantras didn't stop smallpox. Religious rituals didn't launch rockets. But experiments did. Learning did. Scientific thinking did. We became neo-creators not through prayers, but through deep engagement with the laws of nature. The gods asked for faith. Sick asked for nothing, only that we learn. Humans, the next generation of creators. With every scientific leap, every discovery, every problem solved, we're no longer just survivors. We are becoming neo-creators, not because of divine blessings, but because we learned how the universe works. We corrected an asteroid's path, DART. We can now rewrite DNA, CRISPR. We simulate black holes and build artificial intelligence. We are beginning to understand the fabric of consciousness. We are not gods, but we are slowly learning the language of the SIC. And that language is creation through knowledge. Final words, the true path forward. So what now? Do we continue to wait for divine intervention? Or do we embrace the role SIC designed for us? Not as worshipers, not as victims of faith, but as scientific, moral, and creative beings with the power to understand and shape reality. Don't just live, pray, and die. Live, learn, create, correct, become the next SIC. The proof is all around us. The message is silent but undeniable. The correction has begun. Will you be part of it?